Welcome to Coffee Rants with Dan. I am the spiritual anarchist, Dan Arnold, your host. Tune in for what's really happening every Thursday. That's Thursday at 9 a.m. in Studio A on Revolution Radio. They keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant so we're easier to enslave. They make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control by hearing the contradictions within your belief systems that allows you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are, to return to what we're meant to be, a service to others, to humanity, to return to nature, and reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies. So get angry, because anger is sacred. And together we can unite and rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity, assemble.
Test. Oh yeah, it's working. So, Saturday morning coffee rant with Dan. Man, I'm going to do my best to not really rant and not really start using all the profanity I usually enjoy using because it's a catharsis. It's helps me to let out, emotions that I don't think we should keep in, because if you keep them in, you're going to get sick. And who wants to get sick? I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to have anything to do with the medical system, right now. Who does? No one does, even under the best of circumstances. But we're not in the best of circumstances, not when we're being lied to the last 5 years about certain things, by other people. Because this is going to be on YouTube, we've got a new leaders that are, our leaders, our elected leaders, but I still have to be very careful what I say on YouTube. So again, when I talk about medical things, man, we have to consider safety. We have to consider our safety. And who wants to be sick? Who wants to have to go, to a hospital? Who wants to be sick? No one wants to be sick. We want to be safe. We want to be healthy. Okay, right? So, I am learning how to speak in certain codes, I guess, because of this. Now, again, because of people's political minds, people on the far woke left might be like, I'm turning off right now. I can't listen to this. Listen to it for a second, okay? It has nothing to do with your politics. Remember, politics are for lunatics, and all ticks are parasites. So, on my radio show, Revolution.radio, I talked about superheroes and how Anthony Mackie, the guy who plays the new Captain America, he was originally the Black Falcon in Marvel Comics. He, first off, that's comic accurate, okay? Because Black Falcon did become Captain America when old man Captain America couldn't be Captain America anymore. And he didn't have Captain America's level of abilities and stuff like that, but he made up for it with the technology he had. And he still had Captain America's shield. And he was a solid Avenger, okay? In the comics, just like in the Avenger movies. Again, something was blown way out of proportion with social engineering, first off, and to create conflict, because really the conflict and distraction benefits those who want to rule us, our supposed elected officials. They're not our elected officials. That's just a game they play with you to make you feel like you're got a say, okay? Let me just move on to the main thing I want to talk about. So it was made into a big D, and he was being called a DIY, DIE, whatever stupid initials are. And honestly, in this case, people were wrong to be saying that. People on the right were wrong to be saying that about him. I'm not right or left. I'm neither. Trust me, I don't care. Okay? First I want to say to that plane crash that just happened, prayers to the family and victims of that. When I heard about it, it's very tragic. First thought that came to my mind is I wonder who was on that plane. But anyway, in a onstage comment, the actor Anthony Mackie stated, "To me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term America should be one of those representations. It's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable." There's nothing wrong with that statement. There was nothing anti-American about that statement. I want you to think for a second. What do you think the world thinks about America right now? With our divisive politics, with the woke joke movement. Would you say our supposed elected leaders in the last 5 years have been leading? We're leading the world in technology. We always have. We've had this really strong military throughout the latter 20th century and into the 21st century, as far as we know. Why aren't we leading the world in higher consciousness towards a new world order? Not a new world government like all the governments of the world are doing. Why aren't we leading it towards a new world order? A world order in which there are no borders. A new world order in which their technology is used to eliminate almost all sicknesses and illnesses. One in which higher consciousness for our fellow beings on this planet reigns supreme, and we evolve to that level 1 civilization where we're not Lithuanian and Russian and African and American and North American and this and this and that and this and that and black and white and brown and yellow and red and da da. We're all humanity. We're humans on planet Earth, part of a galactic society, if you will, because we know we're not alone. We're on the precipice of higher consciousness. We're on the precipice of all these advancements. Why are we still talking about countries? To me, Captain America does represent all these ideal things, not just America, but see, America represented all these things at one time. This is what people don't understand. And the regular citizens of this world, of this country, still want to represent those things. So I understand what he was getting at, but he wanted to make a correction, so he wrote on Instagram, Anthony Mackie wrote, the actor, I have nothing against him, he wrote, "Let me be clear about this. I'm a proud American, and taking on the shield of a hero like Captain America is the honor of a lifetime. I have the utmost respect for those who serve and have served our country. Captain America has universal characteristics that people all over the world can relate to." Okay? And doing this has been an attempt to try to bring down America. In 2020, don't go to one of them riots dressed up like Captain America. You're getting jumped. Batman showed up. They weren't sure what to do at first, but then they cheered. And that was the day after the Penguin guy with the gas mask and the umbrella and the hammer kicked off the riots. That was probably a communication. Again, that's just a conspiracy theory. But I agree with what he originally said, and I agree most certainly with him clearing up the air on what he said regarding Captain America, what he represents. Superman represents the same thing. That's DC Comics' version of... I'm a comic book geek. Of course I'm going to talk about this because, to me, this is all part of social engineering. It's all part of what they do to attack us and get us just to fight each other. And we're forgetting about what this is supposed to represent. Captain America was worthy to pick up the hammer of Thor. In a DC Marvel crossover, so was Superman. Even though Superman doesn't need the powers, he was able to still wield it. Now, of course, Superman's way more powerful than Captain America, but he represents all the same things characteristically as Captain America, even though their power levels are... Superman would sneeze at him and accidentally kill him. even though, you know, Captain America has some powers above human. He's nowhere near Superman. This is the nerd in me coming out. Okay, I don't care. But they represent the same thing. And they've both been under attack because they're trying to attack the American way of life, which is freedom. For a while, we were, okay, the envy of every country in the world for the amount of freedoms we had. And they've been getting washed away. We watched what the far left did. The left made our stuff go away badly in their way. Let's take the border crisis. Like, we got all these people coming over the border, and they're filming our border agents escorting military-aged Asian and Venezuelan males over the border, okay, during the left administration. Now, in the right administration, everybody in this country who's got any type of dissenting of a voice is being threatened to be deported. It's a joke. Can you see the extremes? This is what the country has to realize, is the extremes. We need to have unity. Okay? Again, I'm doing all this off of Facebook posts. This is another reason why I haven't got rid of my Facebook yet. Because it gives me things to talk about. It's my practice zone. So I'm with Anthony Mackie. I understand what he said in his first statement. And right now, America doesn't represent these things. We don't represent these things. Because we're not holding the very few people who rule us, not our elected officials who rule us, responsible. And let's look at, while they do these, like, you know, jokes, to me it's all jokes. While they do all this stuff to create the division they're creating all over the world, I have to keep saying it. The superhero guy in me, who during the Avengers we see an alien invasion, and during DC Comics we see an alien invasion for, you know, the Justice League. They're not doing this because it's human driven. There's something behind the scenes driving this because people are too lazy, and I don't want to say they're naturally that evil. They've been read in on something that they just know that we don't. Okay? But America stood for something, and I'm thinking all of humanity needs to start standing for something. True freedom. So this actor, Anthony Mackie, I'm glad he made that clarification. He shouldn't have had to. All one has to do is look at the extremes that each ruling party do to get each other mad at each other, and it creates nothing but separation. This isn't a unified country because it's not a unified world anymore. But this is the country that was the most united, and it has to be divided before they can institute a new world government. Not a new world order with higher consciousness, where care for our fellow human beings and love take us to that next level of humanity, that next level of creation. So I wrote about this really quick. I just said I agree. I actually agree with his clarification. Think for a second outside of politics, which I know is hard. I just got done talking about all that shit, but it's what affects us, okay? So, the principles of Captain America, who is an admired superhero across the world, represents what is a pureness of one's heart that we as Americans want to indeed associate with ourselves and with our country. But our government, along with the other governments of the world, are puppets for something else with an evil agenda, and have indeed become humanity's enemy. All of humanity, it is time. Humanity, assemble. We have to come together in every way possible. They're messing with my superheroes now. I'm a geek when it comes to this. Don't mess with my superheroes. I'm not some perfect person like Thor isn't. He wasn't worthy of the hammer for a time. Even in the comic books he wasn't. He had to re-become worthy. Okay? So, there's something else. People need to start having more courage. I hate bullies. I've hated bullies my whole life. In my book, Violence and Ego, I talk about a lot of the fights I got into as a kid was usually defending nerds from bullies. I myself was a nerd, so guess who got bullied on? At least they attempted to. It didn't work out real well for them. I was a nerd who could fight. I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I grew up with a stepdad beating my ass. No kid was going to be able to do something to me that a full-grown man wasn't already doing as far as violence was concerned. So that's kind of made me tougher. I should thank him for that. But let me see something here. Oh, this would have been funny. I wonder if I can put this in somehow. This would have been funny. I made a meme. It's got President Trump holding up one of his signed laws with a picture of me, and it says, listen to the Spiritual Anarchist every Thursday. It's Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on Revolution.Radio Studio A. I think it's hilarious. So everyone who thinks that I'm just like real serious all the time, I'm not. If you don't have a sense of humor sometimes about what's going on in the world, you're going to end up crying. And I've done enough crying in my life. I'm ready to like live life. And as they say in yoga, try easier, not harder. And to implement what I know how to teach, but to sometimes always, you know, walking your talk isn't always so easy in this world. I admit that. But there was another post that I want to talk about. So part of the deportation process that was being talked about was if you're an anti-Semite, you're going to be deported or imprisoned or whatever. That's like the opposite of what the left was doing, the far opposite. Ain't that great? Because if you've got if the right comes in and does the far opposite of what the left does, even with a couple good things that the right likes, and then before we had the left having this country in full free fall, and they do a couple little things that the left likes, but they have the right in complete. It's can't you see they're doing it on purpose? This is like two WWE guys talking crap before the fight to get the crowd revved up. They do their little fight, and then backstage they're laughing and they're best of friends. Guys, this is what this is. The world is a stage. So I decided, because they're talking about doing that, I'm like, I've never seen an anti-Semite in this country. If you are somebody who doesn't want violence, that doesn't make you an anti-Semite. We don't want violence towards the citizens of Israel because originally the 12 tribes of Israel were Semites. Okay? They were cousin bloods with the Arabs and the Palestinians, or the Phoenicians. That's what they were in the Bible. That's what they're called, the Canaanites. A little bit of history. So all you need to do is look at. So I decided to use government-controlled Google. I didn't have to go to DuckDuckGo. I didn't have to try to go to the dark web. I didn't have to do all this research to try to dig down to get to the truth in this world of information and disinformation. I just simply Googled, are Palestinians considered Semites? Yes. Google answers yes. It's an AI. Thank you, Elon. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that. AI has actually helped me out a lot. It gives me summaries of things really quickly. But I also take it with a grain of salt because I know where it's pulling its information from. But this is AI. And I also double checked it. I also know this from other research I've done. That yes, Palestinians are indeed Semitic. The term Semite refers to a cultural linguistic group that includes both, they're saying ancient and modern peoples because, you know, the Phoenicians are now the Palestinians. The Canaanites, the Greek, Byzantines, all that comes in together. And they spoke Arabic and Hebrew, the Jewish language, right? Not saying the Israeli language, I'm saying the Jewish language. Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, ancient language. These are the languages that Semitic people spoke. So if you are against the violence going on in the Middle East in any capacity, you're not an anti-Semite. They're playing with the wrong words. They're going to have to change their vocabulary. They'll have to change the words they use. Because you can't deport somebody calling them an anti-Semite because they don't want to see Semites, in this case, the Palestinians, being ethnically cleansed and kicked out of their land. And I know it's a complicated thing, so they say. The complication means it's a op and it's lies. The truth is simple. There's a book out there you can read. It's called I'm going to post it today. I think I saved it someplace on here. I'm going to look for it. But it's called A 5,000 Year History of Palestine. It's a very good audio book. It's like a 16-hour listen. Well worth it. It delves into the fact that the Sea Peoples, or the Semites, arrived in that area of the world around, and the Phoenicians are around 12,000 BCE, around right after the last Great Deluge. Okay, so then I asked, and I had to ask, are Europeans considered to be Semitic? And Google answered, the term Semitic refers to people primarily from the Middle East who speak Semitic languages like Arabic, Hebrew, and So you're not an anti-Semite if you don't want to see an area of the world, violence in the area of the world that is causing the ethnic cleansing of a whole group of Semites. Okay, so they're going to have to play with their words a little bit better. Social engineers aren't doing a good job with definitions. It seems like they're trying to divide that world over there too. I don't know. The violence that we're allowing to happen is mind-boggling to me. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant now. I didn't want to. Fuck it. So, we're okay with child trafficking, blowing up children, murder, and all the retards who allow it to happen and fight over it. Oh my God, what did I just say? I just said retards. I shouldn't use fucking words like retards. Oh my God, I just said another word. The word fuck. The word fuck. The word retard, the word fuck. So no, you can't use words like that. I gotta do it. I gotta be better. We are perfectly fine with the murder of other human beings and the dehumanization of other human beings. When children get blown up in war, it's terrible. When children and civilians are purposely targeted, it's terrible. When soldiers have to fight each other that don't even know each other for their masters, it's terrible that these things happen. It's just terrible, but it's how life is, right? It's how life is, and this is how we should describe it. Because when children are being sacrificed to satanic pedophiles and, people are being murdered, children are being blown to pieces, body parts everywhere, civilians being, Semites are being ethnically cleansed, and all this other slavery in the world, we have to make sure we use the right verbiage. We don't want to be offensive. So to call the people that allow this fucking retards is offensive. Don't you do that. But the acts themselves, as long as we use the correct and very nice sounding adjectives to describe these very violent acts, then you're okay. And a man is a woman and a woman is a man. And up is down and down is up. And we're going to invert everything. Fucking retards. But the word fucking and the word retard is an offensive thing to use. Who's offended by that? Tell me why. You're offended by the adjectives. Everyone's about pronouns, but you're offended by the adjectives I use to describe my disdain for the fucking violence that's being allowed to go on over there and the violence that we keep allowing to go on over there, but you're okay with kids being blown up to fucking pieces? Keep arguing over your goddamn politics. Pull your heads out of your asses. I'm not a perfect person. I don't care about my imperfections. Compared to this, I am Jesus. Compared to this, I am the most moral human being that ever walked the face of this earth, and so is probably everyone listening to this podcast, because the regular human beings of this planet don't want to murder and ethnically cleanse others under euphemized morals. Five words that the world needs to be able to say. I'm sorry, I was wrong. This is why I talked about before the need to recognize and heal narcissistic disorders and different things we have wrong with us that keep us believing these lies and keeping us in these contradictions. One person at a time around us, and then it'll go out. So I really want to pay attention to what's happening around me, but you can't do it at the expense of seeing what's happening in the greater world, because it's going to affect all of us. And things are coming, and people just believe what they see on TV. So this isn't really a political post. I'm not political. I'm apolitical. I'm not on either side. I can see arguments that they have with each other are purposely done just to divide us. I'm not saying the right doesn't have some really solid things. I'm not saying the left doesn't have some really solid things, but they purposely go to the extremes of these things to get you fighting each other. Meanwhile, what is our country becoming? Are we the light of the world? Are we leading the world into the future of peace, compassion, love, and consciousness? Or are we leading the world into contradicting violence with the other world puppeticians who all worked in tandem 5 years ago so well together to lock us all down and put diapers on our faces? That was excellent teamwork. Go team. And then just 4.5 years later to all be at a war, and that doesn't raise questions amongst the regular human beings. All regular human beings want to do is live. They don't want to be bothered with this. I would say elected leaders, they're not really elected leaders, but I would say they're even too lazy to do all this. Something else is driving this, man. The government don't lie to us. They didn't, we know there's extraterrestrials, but for years they completely denied it. They're coming out now and telling the truth. Okay. Sure, they've never lied. I'm not talking about white lies. No, I'm not talking about, no, hon, your butt looks just fine in those jeans. I mean, no, you have not gained 1 pound. Why are you so hard on yourself? A little white lie isn't going to be bad. There's like levels. Anyway, man, this was my rant for Saturday morning. I'm doing more content than usual lately because there's going to come a time where I'm going to go shut up and be off grid, because that time's coming, man. There's just too much crap going on. And that's probably not for another few years, but I mean, I can just see into the future a little bit, and it's not psychic, it's predictive analysis. Okay, predictive analysis based on what has happened, what is happening, and what is going to happen. There's a reason why they're doing everything they're doing. You have to start thinking and using your brain, which they try to dumb down through poisoning us and through television programming that tells lies to your vision and programs you the way they want to program you. Now you've got influencers who are being bought off because the alternative media is now going to be getting turned into the real media, and mainstream news media is going to be the same blah, blah, blah that they've always been. They're not being taken seriously no more. So, do I have to even keep going on? Look at the large picture, please. Zoom out. Get over yourself and your thoughts that you thought were true, and start looking at the fact that you could have been fooled and bamboozled, and pull it back in, man. Zoom back in, see what's going on, fix things up in your personal life the best you can, heal yourself, heal your contradictions, get a better diet, do all these things to make you vibrate at a higher level. Things around you start vibrating at a higher level. That's what we all have to do individually, because we can't control what the governments are going to do. And people who are order followers all over the world get a paycheck to follow what orders they're given with obfuscated morals. Okay? And they fool everybody with those. So people getting paid to serve their country is really getting paid to murder. That's what every soldier's doing for their puppetitions. Meanwhile, the regular citizens of the entire world just want to live their lives. This is the message we got to start giving to everybody. Regular people want to just live their lives. I don't care what your ethnicity is. And let's get America, right? That spirit of Captain America, that spirit of Thor, of worthiness, that spirit of Superman, the American way, to lead the world forward in higher consciousness and love and compassion and health. As I smoke my pipe and drink my coffee when I get off here. No one's perfect, man. I'm definitely more of an anti-hero. Definitely like a Frank Castle or a Wolverine, even though I do pretend I'm Thor. But who cares? Everyone's got their issues, whatever. Anyway, nothing but peace and love on this Saturday morning coffee rant with Dan. I might play this on my radio. Oh, no. God damn it. Sorry for anyone who's religious. I did not mean that in a religious way. I use way too much profanity to play this on Revolution Radio. But I'll talk about this on Revolution.radio Thursday morning at 09. Have a good day, folks. Nothing but peace and love. Till next time.
Stand and fight. Live by your heart. Always one more try.